All right, I think I'm live. Live. Hey, welcome tonight. We're live on this Wednesday evening. Hump day. Hold on a second. I gotta turn the fan up. Sorry, boys. Gotta turn the fan up. The dogs like the fan. Nice and cool in here, though. We don't need the fan anyway. It's kind of noisy, distracting. All right. All right. So I just had to pull myself together. I saw somebody that I watch on YouTube, and he just house got destroyed in that hurricane, so I feel really bad for him. He's got video of it, and it's not good. Tree fell right through the roof. First, the roof got ripped off, and then the tree fell right through the rest of the house. So, anyway, I feel bad for him. So, anyway, let me get this holder over here so we can put this in here and get started. I hope y'all had a wonderful day. I had a great day. Uh-oh, one of my cat. I know what you're doing. All right. I gave him a dish of some food, and he's about to push the plate off the counter. He likes to do that. All right. And then you hear smash. So anyway, as you can see by the title, I just hope those people in Florida are safe, and in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, wherever else it's hitting. I hope everybody's safe, because that's terrible. But yeah, so by the title, you can see that we're doing the different versions of the Ten Commandments in the Bible. There are, let's see, so actually, so there's actually like two written sets of Ten Commandments in the Bible. Then there is a, one's in Deuteronomy. The one most people know is in Exodus 20. And then later in Exodus, there's like a, like in Exodus 34, there's a, like an amendment. Or, well, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's a partial list of the Ten Commandments, which doesn't match the first Ten Commandments. So anyway, so that's three different parts in the Bible that have the Ten Commandments. None of them match. And then there's other versions that have other Ten Commandments, depending on what church you go to. The Catholics and the Lutherans have their own Ten Commandments, which I grew up with. I grew up with the Lutheran Ten Commandments, and I always thought there was something strange, even from a very young child. I wondered why both 9 and 10 commandments were almost the same. The coveting, which now I know why. That always seemed dumb to me. They could have just combined those two together, and you know what? They were combined in the original ones were combined. But even as a child, you could see that there's something wrong there. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. And much of the Mandela effect is because if you were raised in a Lutheran or Catholic home and you went to church growing up in a Lutheran Catholic church, you didn't learn out of the King James Bible. Period. It's not what you did. You probably learned out of the RSV or one of the other versions. You absolutely did not. Your preacher, reverend, whatever it was, he did not read out of the King James Bible. Very little churches did. Altar. So let me grab a book. I can jack this up a little higher. Bam. Actually, even one more. I have well, hey D, how you doing tonight? Hi Kathy, doing okay. The hurricane has been downgraded to a storm. Kids will be okay. That's great news, D. Great news. Yeah, so it's got downgraded to a tropical storm. The topic sounds interesting. Yeah. D, you might have remembered we've gone over this a couple years ago. I think this may be the third time I've covered it, but this is the first time I'm covering the different versions of the Ten Commandments with the basically with the different sources in the documentary hypotheses theories included. So, which now makes more sense, even more sense, because obviously the different Ten Commandments, the same person. Listen, Moses is not writing three versions of the Ten Commandments. Well, let's hope not, unless he's lost his mind. Or is it more logical that there is a Northern Kingdom version and a Southern Kingdom version? Yeah, that sounds more plausible. Outside, you're outside. The weather is too nice to go inside yet. That's good. At least it's pleasant weather. You don't. At least it's more comfortable outside now because you had such a long hot streak of weather, over 100 degrees every single day. That's rough. So yes, by all means, I'm glad you're enjoying the outside. It's actually cool enough to walk outside, huh? That's good, D. Yeah, so I got nothing new. What did I do today? I did a bunch of stuff. I have the plumber guy is coming tomorrow. He comes every year, about this time every year, because I have a septic and 110 feet out from my house is a tree root growing through my line. And so at the end of each summer, the root has grown big enough inside my pipe that it is clogging it. So once a year they have to come and they have to go out there and well, they have to go at 110 feet and grind through the root. And hopefully this is the last time, because I'm supposed to get a new septic next spring, Lord willing, right? I should have gotten it 5 years ago, but hey, things happen. I get busy, and it's what it is. So anyway, hopefully this is the last time. But yep, I have him coming tomorrow with a giant machine, and anyway, hopefully that's the last time I have to do that. Northern and Southern version sounds central. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Yep, you got your Yahweh source and your Elohim source, and well, hey Grace, how you doing tonight? Glad he's coming out there. Yeah, yep. I called him today because I didn't know how long out he's scheduled. He says I could come tomorrow. And I said, all right. I said, even if you come before Friday, because you know what, you guys, I forgot this is a holiday weekend. Monday is Labor Day, which I just realized. And anyway, if he doesn't come out Friday, I gotta wait till Tuesday, which is fine. Really doesn't matter, but it needs to be done. And but anyway, it dawned on me that, oh yeah, it is a holiday weekend, and so yeah, if you need something done, it has to be done by Friday, or you're into next Tuesday. So anyway, that's what he does. He starts he's gonna come out and grind the root. Hopefully last time. Hopefully next year at this time I'll have a new septic system. And they're gonna probably run it out a different way, because now you have to have a mound system in Minnesota. It must be above ground mound system to comply with the county, you know what I'm saying? Anyway. That's why I got this house basically half price because they weren't able to sell this house with the non-compliant septic system to anybody that was going to loan money from a bank. The bank won't loan you money on a house that has a non-compliant septic system. So I offered them offered them cash for the half price, and they took it. I was shocked. I was shocked. You guys probably remember that. So anyway, that's why I got this house half price, is because the septic system is non-compliant and you had to buy it with cash. So otherwise, a lot of people tried to buy it and they were turned down because the bank won't loan that money. So if I ever want to sell this house, yeah, it's got to have the compliant septic system, or I'm going to get half of what it's worth upon selling, which I hope I don't ever have to do. Anyway, yeah, same guy. Remember that one a couple years ago, the guy came and he was out here talking to me, and me and him were talking, and all of a sudden I heard smash, something really loud. And both of us looked at each other like, "What the hell was that?" And we went running back to the bathroom, and the toilet was smashed on the floor in a million pieces because I didn't realize at the time. Both of us like, what the hell? The hell did that happen? He said that never happened, and he had to go buy me a new toilet. And I'm not sure how it happened, but later I thought, did the cat jump on it and knock it over? I don't know. But anyway, poor guy had to go buy me a brand new toilet, and I just had it was a brand new toilet, and he had to buy me another one. So, well, shalom to you too, Grace. You just figured out it was Labor Day weekend myself. I know, I had no idea. You know what? I should have known, because this Minnesota State Fair is this week, and that always is the ends on the Labor Day weekend, and then the kids go back to school the next day. The flooring in the 3 laundry rooms was being replaced when I left around 1. It'll probably take till tomorrow to be done with it. Really? They put linoleum in there? Of course, I have 3 loads of laundry to do. That includes bed sheets. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did get a good deal. Yeah, you guys remember when that guy came out here? We're just like, both of us just stared at each other like, what in the hell was that? Anyway. So, that's the plan for tonight. We're going to be going over the different versions of the 10 Commandments. And I don't know, some people might not even know there is more than one, but there is multiple. And depending on what religion you are, I'll tell you about that too. I'll show you the the Catholics and the Lutherans have they share a made up version, and it's really funny because about the statues in the Catholic Church. That's why they did it. All right, so and I'll show you the different versions, and we'll show you why the Catholics had to change the second commandment. The second or third? I think it's second. Yeah, it's the second one. Actually, they didn't change the second one. They just took it out and crumpled up, threw it in a trash can. Anyway, we'll go over that. And yeah, so it's not a Mandela effect. And when people say tablets, tablets is now in the Bible. Tablets has always been in the Bible, okay? 2 stone tablets, okay? Tablets. It's a slab of rock is a tablet. Anyway, cray. It's always been. But if you never read your Bible and somebody said, hey, there's tablets in there now, like it's some kind of a computer device. About 10 times more expensive than did I just get knocked off or something? What just happened? Why did my thing just turn white? What the heck? Yeah. Yep. So yeah, Fred and Barney had tablets too. Yeah. Yeah. Flintstones. Yeah. And they're cavemen. So why is that so strange that there's tablets in the Bible? I did get knocked off. I didn't even know it. I just looked up and I saw I had no icon, and then it came back white as a ghost. Anyway, so that's what we're gonna do tonight. I did not know it. I just kept talking and talking and talking. Uh, yeah. So tablets is not a Mandela effect, but like I said, this is coming from people who've never read the Bible. Um, but yeah, it's fine that there's tablets in there. And Matrix, yeah, they're talking about the womb or whatever. Yep, I know I'm white as a ghost, and maybe I got a fever or something. Hold on a second. I need to put this little fan in here. Ooh, everybody okay? Is it leprosy? I hope not. Maybe I'll put the icon in my cloak and pull it back out, and it will be normal, just like Moses did. Put your hand in your jacket. All right, now take it out. It's white. Okay, put it back in. Now take it out. Oh, it's normal. That's a quote from Moses. A little truck God and Moses did. They were hanging out one time. Leprosy was a thing back then, man. It was just like they had to put these lepers. They put these lepers on maybe not an island, like people joke, but they actually did go all in one place where they could hang out together. And as a matter of fact, in the New Testament, they still had leprosy at the first century, and I don't think they have it anymore. There is like there is an island where they used to send lepers, and um, I don't know if they still have that anymore. We talked about one time. But remember, Jesus healed there was 10 or 12 lepers, 10, I think, I can't remember. But only one came back to thank him. The rest of them just ran off. Only one came back and said thank you. I'm not sure what that was about, but anyway. All right. So, yep, I got nothing new. I don't know anything. I just hung out at my house today. A little working in the garden. I don't know. Just did stuff. I did a lot of cleaning. Did a house cleaning today, so that's about it. The same old, same old. Clean the house, work in the yard. All right, I don't even know where that came from. Oh, it's my phone. Okay. Yes, I know gardening is a lot of time. I spend a lot of time today in my garden. I spend every day in my garden. Today I got about maybe at least 200 little cherry tomatoes, which I don't even know what to do with because I thought they were regular tomato plants, and I'm getting hundreds and hundreds of cherry tomatoes coming in. I got two giant strainers I picked today, and I just keep washing them, put them in Ziplocs, wash them, dry them, put them in Ziplocs. I got a whole freezer full of cherry tomatoes. I don't even know what to do with them. I don't know. I'm not gonna make them into spaghetti, but maybe pizza sauce or salsa or something. I don't know. Anyway, yep, I did. I spent a lot of time in my garden today, so that was fun. Temperature's been awesome, man. It's been in the 70s every day. Now I gotta fly in here. All right, hopefully he won't come back. So let's check this out. We're gonna go over to we're gonna start where we always start in this doublet thing. See, oh dang it! I gotta do something about that fly. I don't know how he got in here because having the dogs came in. I don't know. He's gotta go. I'm gonna wreck my screen. All right. All right, let's check it out. Oh, did I pull up Leviticus? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm just going to show you real quick. So if you look this up, actually, so if you type in or ask anybody what the Ten Commandments is, they're going to go to the go-to, and that's Exodus 20, the one that everybody has, where Moses comes down from Mount Sinai with 2 tablets, and that's in Exodus 20. But the other source says it was Mount Horeb. Remember? So there's one source. I have to look it up which one's which. But there's one source where we're going to show that in a minute. There's different sources. There's 2 sources. There's a Deuteronomy source and there's a anyway, we'll get into that in a second. But anyway, there's 2 different versions of the 10 Commandments and the whole Moses thing. And in one of the versions, I can't remember if it's the northern or which version it was, but Moses' father-in-law is Jethro, and that's what most people know. Most people know the story about Moses' father-in-law being Jethro, right? But other versions, his name is Raul. And the oddest thing is most people think Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments, Mount Sinai, right? Well, the Elohim version says that he came down from Mount Horeb. And one of the versions, they are I don't know how, but fairly recently had just come out of Egypt at the beginning of the 40 years. And the other one was more kind of towards the end of the 40 years, which doesn't make no sense because these people just came out of 400 years of captivity in Egypt. They're basically, they basically probably adapted. No, they were in slavery, but after 400 years, they've turned into Egyptians. They've got their culture. They got whatever. They got their food, and everything else. Traditions, maybe they're gods. Who knows? But so it would make sense that when God brings them out of captivity, 400 years. Well, one version says 400 years. The other version says 430. So again, you got 2 different stories going on. So were they in captivity for 400 years or 430 years? And that actually is in the same book. I think that's in Exodus. But you could look it up. There's 2 different versions. How long were they there? Most people will say 400 years because that's the version that you know. But there's also in the Bible, God himself says, you are going to be there for 400 years. And then the next time you hear about it, they said they were in there for 430 years. What was God ballparking it the first time at 400? Or was it 2 different versions? Was he wrong? Did it go in overtime? You know what I mean? So anyway, you can obviously see there's 2 different sources from the story. one thinks Moses' father-in-law is Raul, and another one thinks his father-in-law is Jethro. One thinks he came out of Mount Sinai. The other one thinks they came out of Horeb. But anyway, and most people that do know the Ten Commandments. I mean, I can recite the Ten Commandments. And it's probably the same one that most people know. As a matter of fact, I have a plaque with the Ten Commandments that's going on my. It was always supposed to go on my gate post out there. I got my driveway gated. I was gonna put it on my gate, never did. But anyway, it's out there, and it's the Exodus Ten Commandments, the one that most people know. Like I said, unless anyway, let's get into this because so the Bible actually contains two complete sets of the Ten Commandments. Exodus 20, verse 2 through 17. That's the one most people know, the one that came from Mount Sinai. Right before the golden calf incident. And by the way, just think about that. They're worshiping Baal. I mean, why? Because he was gone a little bit too long. Anyway, so and they admit it was Baal worship. That I mean, it's flat out says it. So Leviticus 19 so you got Exodus 20, 2 through 17. That's one most people know. And you have Deuteronomy 5, chapter 5, verse 6 through 21. And that's a second set of Ten Commandments. Leviticus 19 contains a partial set of Ten Commandments, 3 and 4, verses 3 and 4. 11, 13, 15, 16, 30, and 32. And then Exodus chapter 34. And that is, it says here, it is sometimes considered a ritual decalogue. And it is kind of interesting because Exodus 20 is the original that most people know. And I don't want to say original, but I'll just say Exodus 20 is the Ten Commandments most people know. Exodus 34 kind of I don't want to say amendment, but it's kind of like it's a partial, which doesn't match the original. So anyway, let's check this out. So let's start out here at the Bible brisket, so you can see the different sources of the Ten Commandments. Shown in here. It's going to come on. Why is my camera not working? That's weird, you guys. Camera doesn't want to work. Why is that? Alright, guys, that is so weird. That is weird, you guys. My camera's not working. Let me just make sure, because I had to sign in to get on here, so somehow it signed me out. Layouts, guest, audio, camera. Okay, camera enabled. Oh, I got it. Okay, it didn't have the camera enabled. Back. Okay, I had it wrong. Okay, let's try it now. Yeah, it did. My camera got shut off. Actually, when I came on here, I had to sign in like I was a new person. I don't know why. On my phone tonight. I don't know why that was like that. I had to enter in my name, give permission for everything. So anyway. All right. So here's where we're getting. Here's the Ten Commandments. These are the different sources. So you got 10 Commandments here. Now here's the one that everybody knows, Exodus 20, 1 through 17. Those are the ones from Moses at Mount Sinai. And that is the what? Redacted. Okay. That means it's the, they had to put in a bunch of words to blend together this one, Exodus 34, Deuteronomy 5, 6 through 20, and Exodus 20. Anyway, so Exodus 20, Exodus 20, the one that everybody knows, is actually kind of a combination of the other sources. So they took so you could say they took the, so it would be the Northern Kingdom version, Southern Kingdom version, and then the Deuteronomy source. See this Deuteronomy? Where is it? This one right here. This is also, so it's going to be a triplet. You got 3 sources here. Well, hey, Omar, good to see you. God bless you too. So you got 3 different sources contributing their version of the 10 Commandments. So, and so you've got, where are we? J, where is it? Right here. So Exodus 34 is the Yahweh version, and that is the Southern Kingdom. All right. You have a Deuteronomy source, and I'm going to show these 3 sources. These are in the Old Testament as the 10 Commandments. So you have Deuteronomy. This is the Deuteronomical source, and it is also a Southern Kingdom. So you have a Southern Kingdom source here, another Southern Kingdom source, and then you have a redacted source, so they're blending them together. All right. And yes, one of them actually, the covenant code. So one of them is actually this one about you can't boil the kid in the mother's milk, which sounds really bizarre, but they're talking about goats. And that's in there too. So that is the one that they're talking about. Exodus 23. Anyway, that's also its own version. I used to have a really good visual for this, and I don't know where it went. I mean, I couldn't find it. I went back on Google. I couldn't find that picture that I used to have that had the 3 different stories, the 3 different versions all together. So let's see what we can find. So first of all, we're going to read Exodus 20. This is the one that most people know. And this is a redacted source. So in other words, this is the blended source. It's not even the original. So you can't say, so it's not really accurate to say Moses came down with the 2 stone tablets. And remember, they were written on both sides. So one tablet was written on both sides. The other tablet was written on both sides, because this was a lot to write. And remember, the first one was written with God's finger. And the second one, I think God made him chisel it out himself because he broke the first set. Anyway. But yeah, the first one was set with God's finger. Where'd that one go? It'd be nice to have seen those. I think would be just my suggestion. He should have wrote it with his finger. Not that he should have, but my suggestion would be, as a human, maybe if you wrote the 10 Commandments on like a mountain or like a big, like kind of like Mount Rushmore or something like that, so it could be there forever. It'd be really cool. But no, they disappeared. They went into the Ark of the Covenant, and basically it was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Or what was that? What was that? I brought my kid to that in the 80s, 90s. Indiana Jones, the Lost Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened after that. So nobody ever saw them. Where'd they go? Who knows? Which is kind of strange, don't you think? Like if God mates these with his fingers and goes through this much trouble, then they just kind of get absconded, and I don't know, nobody sees them again. Anyway, so let's go through this first one here, Exodus 20, and I'm going to show you. So there is we'll go official with the King James, because people are King James onlyist, which is kind of silly, but we'll go over this version of this one, and then we're going to show you how the Catholic and the Lutheran Church changed this. So this is the one most people know. Let's see. Let's find this one. Exodus 20. Exodus 20 right here. All right. So Exodus 20. This is the Ten Commandments. Most people know. Over here so you can see. And this is and by the way, when you buy 10 Commandments, they never write it all out like this. They're kind of summarized. But this is the official Exodus 20 version. So, and this is what, and look, by the way, here is the that's why one of the many things I like about Blue Letter Bible, this site here, is that they always reference any matching, which there you go right there. There's your second set of 10 Commandments that we're going to go over next. Deuteronomy 5, 1 through 22. This is the second set of 10 Commandments. We're going to go over the first one that people come across when Moses come down from Mount Sinai or Horeb, whichever version you use, and whichever story you listen to. All right. So this is that one. And God spoke all these words, saying, now this is right when he came down, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Actually, so here, let me do this. Here's your first commandment, verse 2 and 3. Here's commandment number 1. Now you can see that. So verse 2 and 3, there's your commandment. First commandment, I'm the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Commandment number 1. Commandment number 2 is this one right here. And this is the one that the Catholics and the Lutherans removed, and I'll show you that in a minute. Many, many, many years, I don't know how many years ago, but long before I was born, because I grew up in a Lutheran church, and we did not have this one as number 2. And I'll show you how they did this. So if you're Catholic or Lutheran, you did not have this as your number 2. This was removed. You've never seen this. But number 2 says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, which is statues. And what is the particularly the Catholic Church filled with? Images of Mother Mary, Jesus, grown up Jesus, baby Jesus. I went to a Catholic funeral. You wouldn't even believe how many statues were in that church. It was just like a Jesus of every size, Mary's of every size, baby Jesus is grown up Jesus. It's like, man, there's a lot of, there he is. Anyway, so this is why particularly the Catholics, Lutherans, I grew up in a Lutheran church, and yeah, we had, we had the Jesus on the cross, and I don't know, not a whole lot. But they're probably talking about the cross itself too. That's an image too, not just statues, but images. Cross is an image. Statues are an image. Mother Mary, baby Jesus, grown up Jesus on the cross. Anyway, so here's commandment number 2 that was taken on the Lutheran and the Catholics. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven, in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath, or water under the earth. Commandment number 3, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Oh, I'm sorry, this is still commandment number 1. I'm going to show you, because this is, commandment number 2. This is a long commandment. So if you look at regular 10 commandments, they're not going to have all these. Like I said, the Catholics don't even have this one at all, and Lutherans, but even when you buy some 10 commandments, you're not going to have all this, but this is all in number 1. It's all, and this is all about these images. So all this, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, and 6 is commandment number 2, which is thou shalt not make to thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that's in heaven or above, that's in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. nor serve them. All right. And what do the Catholics do? They bow down to these statues and the statue of Peter. They kiss his foot and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, now, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord, thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. That's all number 2. And you can see how that would be a big problem in the Catholic Church. Like, whoa. It says right here, we're not supposed to have statues or idols or bow down to them. And that's what the Catholic Church is a lot about, statues and bowing to them and kissing them and praying to them. Anyway, so that was commandment number 2. Commandment number 3, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. And actually, that's why the Jewish people are so afraid of breaking this one that you see them, they'll write G-D instead of God. And they don't call him. See, it would be tricky if they called him Yahweh or Elohim, like Christians try to do, because they're different gods. Yahweh is a different God than Elohim is a different God than El, than, you know what I mean? And so Yahweh, Jehovah, they're different gods. So it would be awkward if they were. So the Jewish people, you'll see them, they'll say Hashem, H-A-S-H, wait, I think it's H-A-S-H-E-M, Hashem. Anyway, that means the name. They won't even say his name. Why? Well, because they're all talking. Well, anyway, you can use your imagination. But that's why they don't write his name out, G-O-D. They don't write God, G-O-D. They'll put G-D, because they don't want to disrespect him or take his name in vain. And so they call him Hashem. The name means the name. Anyway, so thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. You'll not be held guiltless. Here's number 4. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And this is about not working every single day like a slave. So this would make a lot of sense that God has given these commandments right when they came out of Egypt. Because remember, in Egypt, they never got a day off. They don't even remember what the Sabbath was. I mean, the Sabbath is, they don't remember probably a lot of stuff. But so God's trying to break them of working every single day. So he says, take one day off. And, sanctify it means just pick a day, make it holy, set it aside, make it holy, and rest on that day. Don't work every day like you did in Egypt. So it would make sense that they would be given these commandments right when they left Egypt, according to one source. But the other source says, no, this is like the end of their 40 years, which makes no sense. Or these parting commandments. Anyway. Because remember, there's like 1 million people, between 1 and 2 million people, nomads, that are wandering on foot with animals, living in tents, and they got to set up some rules, right? Anyway, so this is most likely done at the beginning of their 40 years, according to the story. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, no, you, your son, your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that's within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the 7th day. I have hiccups. Sorry. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So there is your. In fact, this is the longest. I'm pretty sure it's the longest commandment, is number 4, which no Christian hardly ever does, is the Sabbath. Best thing I ever did when I worked 7 days a week my whole life. I never took a day off. Best thing I ever did in 2016 is I started taking 1 day off a week. It was like a game changer. It would change my life. It's better for me, better for my dog Spencer. It was better for everybody. And I actually made more money. I made more money taking that day off because I was just everything went so much. It's so much better when I took one day off instead of working every day. I was actually so frazzled from working every day. So anyway, and here's number 5. And you know why you know it's 5? This is the easy way to remember the 10 commandments. The first 4 commandments is your relationship between you and God. Don't use his name in vain. Don't have statues. Don't have other gods. And remember the Sabbath. All right. Then you get to number 5. There's your parents. The relationship between you and your parents. Honor your mother and your father, that the days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God gives you. This is number 5. And then number 6 through 10 is the relationship between you and your fellow man. All right. So first 4 between you and God. Number 5 is between you and your mom and dad. And number 6 through 10 is between you and your fellow humans. Oops, sorry. 5 is so you honor your mother, your father. Number 6, thou shalt not kill, which actually translates to murder. The original said murder, which is unjustified. Anyway, which is funny because, you know, he says thou shalt not kill, and then, I don't know, a little bit later he tells him to go in and kill every man, woman, child, and animal in entire countries. Anyway, but who's paying attention, right? Anyway, thou shalt not kill is number 6. And that's an easy one to remember too, because 6 is humans, the number of man. You know, man is prone to sometimes to kill another man. Anyway, commit adultery is number 7. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And that rule, by the way, I don't want to go into all that. So much. We'll go into that sometime. Adultery is just, anyway, we'll keep going because that's a whole, I could go all night on that. But anyway, do not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And here's number 10. And now, remember, the Lutherans and the Catholics took out number 2, right? About worshiping, bowing to statues and praying to statues and stuff. They had to take it out. Otherwise, you know, that's kind of their gig. So they took out number 2. So now what? They only got 9, right? So what they did is they took number 10 here and split it in half. Yep. I'll show you that in just a second. So if you grew up Catholic or Lutheran, these are the commandments that you did not see. Like I said, even as a little kid, I knew this was kind of weird. I'm going to show you. So the real 10th commandment is thou shalt not covet. It's all about coveting. This whole number 10 is about coveting. Don't be jealous and envious and want what your neighbor has, okay? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Now, remember, back then, the wife or woman, this is actually the word woman. They've translated and used the word wife, but the original says woman. And back then, in the Old Testament and New Testament, the entire Bible, women are property of men, just like the house, just like his car, anything else, okay? The woman is the property. So no more, no less. It's just like a slave or anything else. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. And by the way, the woman is second in the line of property. So he's talking about not coveting your neighbor's property. So the first thing in your neighbor's house, don't covet your neighbor's house or his wife, because that is also his property, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, which is his workers. Don't covet his ox, his ass. The last thing you want to do is covet your neighbor's ass. And nor anything that is thy neighbor's. So there is number 10. Now I'm going to show you, because the Catholics took and the Lutherans took out number 2, their short one, right? So here's what they do. They take this, they take this part and make it number 9. All right, they covet the neighbor's wife. So this is number 9. and then this will be number 10. I'll show you. So if you grew up Catholic or Lutheran, I'll show you. So let's find where that is, okay? Here we go. Oops. Now this is the short version, okay? But it just shows you. Look at any. So here's your Catholic and the Lutheran version, okay? So this is all that they're now we're not even talking about the other two versions in the Bible. This is how they have turned Exodus 20 into their own little deal. So the Protestants, which is excluding the Lutherans and the Jewish. So the Protestants stuck together with the 10 Commandments that the, as you can see, the Protestants stayed with the same 10 Commandments. They didn't change. But if you look at the Catholic, they did. Like I said, they took out number 2 about the statutes. So, you shall have no other gods before me. You know, I brought you out of slavery and all that stuff, so don't have anybody before me. He says, you shall not have any strange gods before me. It's a little different. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. This should be number 3. Number 2 is supposed to be no graven images. Remember, no statues. Don't bow down to any statues or have statues. But they're number 2. They've removed number 2, and they went straight to number 3 about taking the name of the Lord God in vain, and they made that into number 2 because you're missing number 2. So if you're going to set a Catholic, you know, I ordered something. I went on eBay and I was looking for a different thing for my post, a different 10 Commandments, and there was an auction ending in like 60 seconds. It was really cheap. It was like $6, so I popped on it, hit that $6, and I won the auction. And when it came in the mail, it was this version, the Catholic. They didn't even say that. It was a Catholic 10 Commandments. I'm like, dang, I got ripped, man, because I didn't read it. Anyway, so the Catholics took out number 2 about graven images, and they went right to they made number 3, the name of the Lord your God. They turned that into number 2. So when they get to the bottom, and then the rest match up. Well, no, they don't, because they're misnumbered. So instead of number 4 being the Sabbath, they got number 3 as the Sabbath. Instead of number 5 being your mom and dad, they got it number 4. Instead of 6, the number of man being killed, they've got 5. Instead of number 7 being don't commit adultery, they have it as 6. Oh, they got to come up with something, right? Because they got to keep it at 10. Don't steal should be 8. Bear false witness is supposed to be 9. And do not covet your neighbor's wife. See how they did that? And then they split the coveting, the big coveting one, into 2. So they said, don't covet the neighbor's wife and don't covet your neighbor's. Like I said, when I was a little kid, I always thought, you know, they could have just combined these. Honest to God is my witness. That's what I thought growing up. Why didn't they just combine these and just say, don't covet your neighbor's wife and all this other stuff? Why split that into 2? I thought that as a child, and as God is my witness, I'm telling the truth. Well, because it makes sense that it should be 1. It's the original one. So anyway, that's Exodus number 20, the King James version, the real Exodus 20, and what the Protestants, Jewish, and Catholics and Lutherans did with that. So the Catholics and Lutherans have, what do they say, molested it. They took out number 2, and they just fiddled with number 10, split that one in half, just, you know, so they keep having 10. Because if you have 9, it'd be so obvious. All right, so let's go on. And we're going to go to the next 10 Commandments. Oh, let's just go back to Bible Brisket. So we're going to see. So that was Exodus 20. The next time we see the 10 Commandments, actually, we're going to go to the Deuteronomy source because that's another full set of 10 Commandments, but it doesn't match the first set. So that's, and by the way, so that's your redacted, your melted together version. Now we're going to go to the Deuteronomy, which is the Southern Kingdom, to their version. Deuteronomy 5, 6 through 18 is another full set of 10 Commandments. So Let's go see what those say. If I can find them, I gotta look at my other computer. Here it is. Deuteronomy 5. So go to Deuteronomy 5, and you got another set of 10 commandments here. Now, with this set of 10 commandments, and as you can see, they're referencing Exodus 21 through 17 because that is the one that we just read. Now this one, I should have started in 4, but anyway, this is okay. Leading up to this, so it says 10 commandments repeated. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. Well, it wasn't Horeb, it was Sinai. But who's counting? The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, all right, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Now remember, this is in Deuteronomy. The Lord talked with you face to face in the mount of the midst of the fire. Whenever you see something in parentheses right here, this has been added by the translator. So this is, what would you call it? This is it's not the original. So this part right here has been added, but we're going to read it because it's in parentheses. It's put there by the translator to try to help the reader understand. And sometimes it helps the reader understand, and sometimes it throws you off, so you're thinking something else. So be careful when it's in parentheses. It's not an original part of the transcript, out of the scripture. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to show you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid by reason of the fire and went up not to the mount. All right, so really what it said is, the Lord talked to you face to face in the mount in the midst of the fire, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no, here's number 1. Here's first commandment, have no other gods before me. Commandment number 2, thou shalt not make any the graven images. This is, remember, it should be number 2. No graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or it's in the earth beneath, or under the waters of the earth. And thou shalt not bow down to thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord your God. I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy upon thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So far, perfect, right? Both these are 1 and 2 are the same for the most part. Number 3, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Number 4, which is right on cue here, keep the Sabbath. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God had commanded thee. Word a little different, but it's still the 4th commandment. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, you, your son, your daughter, your manservant, maidservant, ox, or manservant. Your ox, your ass, or any cattle, or any strangers within your gates, that thy manservant, maidservant may rest as well as you. And so it's, a little bit more at the end here, which is, but still, 4th commandment, still right on track. And then, actually, they've also added this. They just changed a little bit, but it's still the same. So this is still number 4. And remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out of thence through a mighty hand and by outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. So that's number 4. Basically about the same, and it's still number 4. Number 5, Honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God hath commanded you, that the days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with you in the land in which the Lord your God gave you. Number 5, thou shalt not kill. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's 5. That's 6. 6 is thou shalt not kill. 7, neither shalt thou commit adultery. 8 is not thou shalt not steal. They're repeating them. Neither thou shalt bear false witness against your neighbor. And number 10, neither thou shalt desire thy neighbor's wife, neither thou shalt covet the neighbor's house, his field, his manservant, maidservant, ox, ass, or anything that's the neighbor's. So there it is. So as you can see, Deuteronomy 5, Exodus 20 lines up pretty good. Next we have, let's go again. So then you in 34, Exodus 34, which is, remember the first Exodus 10 commandments is Exodus 20, 2 through 17. So here we have the 2 tablets replaced. Okay, this is kind of funny. And now the referencing, I think this is interesting. To me, it's very interesting because they're referencing what I just read in Deuteronomy 1 through 5, same 10 commandments, but they're not referencing Exodus 20. Why? Why are they not referencing Exodus 20? 34. Anyway, so 2 tablets to get replaced. Because remember, Moses saw what was going on. He got mad. He smashed the tablets. Now he's got to go back for some more. Okay, so he's got to go up and get more. You got to go tell God the bad news. All right, so Exodus 34. And this is just a, let's see, I'm going to go 10 to 26. Where are we at here? Well, actually, no, I'm going to read the whole thing, 1 through 26. So, and the Lord, in case anybody doesn't know, I don't want to just read the commandments again. Here's why there's more commandments. And the Lord said unto Moses, hew these 2 tablets of stone, like unto the first, and I will write upon these tablets the words that were in the first tablets, which thou broke. Which is kind of, what is weird, which does not add up. Like whenever God, like what I remember, whenever God was using rocks in the Old Testament, they had to be unhewn. Now he's telling them to hew the stones, cut the stones. Like any other time, the stones had to be natural, right out of the earth. But now he's telling them to cut them, which it's a little contradictory. But anyway, the Lord said, cut the 2 tablets of stone like you did to the first, and I'll write upon these tablets the words that were in the first tablet, which you broke. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mountain. Now we're back to Mount Sinai. Remember, instead of Horeb. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor the herds feed before that mount. And he hewed 2 tablets of stone, just like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai, and as the Lord commanded him, and took in his hand 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord descended in the cloud, and stood with him there, and proclaimed in the name of the Lord. And the Lord passed before him, and proclaimed, the Lord God, the merciful and graceful, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands. Sound familiar? This was the end of the other 10 commandments. Keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sins, that they will by no means clear the guilty. That will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children's children, unto the 3rd and the 4th generation. And Moses made haste, and bowed his head toward the earth, and worshipped. And he said, if now I have found grace in your sight, O Lord, let my people, I pray ye, go amongst us, for it is a stiff-necked people, that pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance. Now here it says covenant renewed. Now I find this interesting again, because they're still not talking about Exodus 20, are they? Where's Exodus 20? They're referencing Exodus 23, which was the anyway, we just went over that, the addition or whatever. Deuteronomy 7, which is what now these are where they change the do I want to say change the 10 commandments? Yeah, anyway, I guess. So here's where the covenant is renewed, and this is from 10 to 26. All right, so it's a little different. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all the people. I will do marvels such as not have been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, or all the people, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord. For it is a terrible thing that I will do to you. Observe thou which I had commanded this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Which is kind of funny. It says, I drive out them. Well, really? Because didn't he tell them to go kill them? It would be nice if God would have just drove them out. You know, they wandered the wilderness for 40 years. God could have cleared all these people out himself. It says I drove them out. Well, anyway, remember later they're told to go kill everybody, man, women, child, and keep the virgins for yourself. Anyway, take heed to thyself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy all their altars, break their images, cut down their groves, and thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord the God name is a jealous God. Thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after other gods, and do sacrifice unto other gods. One call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. And thou takest their daughters unto the sons, and their daughters, and go a whoring after other gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make no molten gods. The feast of unleavened bread shall be kept. Now, so I don't know if he's not really necessarily changing. He's kind of adding to the 10 Commandments. All right, the feast of unleavened shall be kept. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread as I commanded you in the time of the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib thou camest out of Egypt. And I think that's April, late March, early April. All that open the matrix is mine. Yes, that is not a all right. It's not a Mandela effect. It doesn't mean Neo or whatever, some movie thing. No, it isn't. All that open the matrix is mine. Okay, so God's claiming the firstborn. Opening the matrix means you're the first baby to come out. All right. Opening the matrix, first baby born is mine, and every firstling of that cattle and eeks and sheep and ox, that's male. So he's taken all the firstborn males. Not sure what he was doing with them, but the firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with the lamb. If thou redeem him not, then thou shalt break his neck. This is terrible. And the firstborn of their sons you shall not redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. 6 days thou shalt work. Here's your 4th commandment. But the 7th day is the day of rest, and airing time in the harvest you shall rest. So anyway, they're telling you to, and then obey the holy days. Now let's go back over here. So we just went through Deuteronomy. That was the second set of. So we went through Exodus, which is a melting. Exodus 20. Got Deuteronomy 5. And then you got what we just added was kind of an addition or a, what would you call it? Anyway, because this is also the D source is the Southern Kingdom and the J source is the Southern Kingdom. So it's the same people. They're changing or adding to it. It's the same Southern Kingdom. So anyway, so let's keep going back. I think we're about almost done. And just so you know, like, that's what I show you when we're talking about these sources, different sources that are contributing to the Old Testament. You have the J and the E source in 922 BC. See, this is the Northern and Southern Kingdom. The E here is your Southern or your Northern Kingdom, and the J source is your Southern Kingdom. And the Southern, and so then remember the 10 northern tribes fell, right? And when they fell in 722 BC, their sources were all joined together. The northern and the kingdom sources, when the southern kingdom fell, that both the sources were joined together, and that was 722 BC. And then later on, Deuteronomy source and the priestly source was added. Now the priestly source is the southern kingdom also. I'm sorry, priestly source is the northern, well, yeah, I think there's southern kingdom too. And Deuteronomy is also southern kingdom. Because once the 10 northern tribes failed, or once they were disbanded or whatever, it all came together. So you got southern kingdom Deuteronomy, southern kingdom priestly, and these two are now in the southern kingdom J and E landed together. So that's when they're all melted together by 539 BC. All right, did we get everything? Maybe. And that's why I mean, so that will explain why you've got one source saying they're at Mount Sinai, the other source saying it's Mount Horeb. One day one source says no, Moses' father-in-law was Reuel. Now there's the northern kingdom are calling Moses' father-in-law Jethro. So anyway, I think we've gone through everything. Oh, here. And I just want to show that, well, actually, that's not really a good page. Yeah, I thought I had a side-by-side, but you can see that the Deuteronomy and the Exodus 20 are very close to the same. And then you got more corrections that add in that you can't boil the kid in the mother's milk, and I think that was Leviticus. I'm not sure. Was that Leviticus? Oh crap!